Hello Anime Americans, Tara here. So last month on April 20th, Netflix released an original anime series in collaboration with Sanrio called Aggretsuko. Aggretsuko centers around a young adult red panda named Retsuko who works in an office. And my god, this show is way too real. The premise is as follows. Retsuko, who is now just 25, has worked in an accounting department of an office for 5 years, and she finds herself incredibly dissatisfied. She has a jerk of a boss, and she is bored with being just submissive and playing by the rules. So the way that she copes is by karaoke. But not just any karaoke, death metal. One of the appeals of the show is how cathartic it is to see many of the frustrations that we may feel with our lives, with our jobs, actually being let out by this character as rage. But this is the side of Retsuko that she doesn't let other people see. She lets out her feelings in private. She would get a solo booth at the karaoke place. She would run into the bathroom and sing her rage out. And then she would simply count down to her return to normalcy. I don't know about you guys, but I have definitely had to step aside, rage a little bit, and count to 10 before I return to deal with people after a frustrating day of work. Retsuko doesn't let people see this other side of her because she is praised for staying in line, for being a good girl. She is the type who reads the terms of service completely before clicking agree. She is the type who will buy a pair of socks before leaving a store so that she doesn't leave with nothing. She's a good girl, and people respect her for that. So she can't be herself. However, we as the viewers can see that Retsuko's frustrations are completely legitimate and valid and reasonable. So as the viewer, we are supportive of Retsuko. We cheer for her, and we want to see her stand up for herself. Because she puts up with a lot of shit. The biggest antagonist and the biggest frustration in Retsuko's life is her boss, who is a literal chauvinist pig. Director Tone is fat, middle-aged, and lazy. So lazy, in fact, that he practices golf during the workday and takes out his temper on Retsuko, calling her incompetent and forcing her to fetch tea because that is a woman's job. Retsuko, of course, recognizes this blatant sexism and grows increasingly more irritated, especially when a younger female character named Tsunoda flirts and sucks up to this boss as her way of playing the office politics and climbing up the ladder as a woman. Retsuko is desperate to fix her situation, and she feels alone in it because everybody else seems to think that she's handling everything just fine. Retsuko's first attempt occurs when an old friend comes back in town, claiming that she wants to start an imported goods store and asks Retsuko if she wants in. Retsuko is fully prepared to quit her job. She fantasizes about slapping a resignation letter right in her boss's face. She has these delusions of grandeur, of running this quaint, cute little imported goods shop, only to find out that it was going to be online only to start with, and that it might take a while for income to start steadily coming in. And Retsuko quickly realizes that it's not very realistic for her situation. So Retsuko's desire to be self-actualized is still not a priority. It comes second to the security of the job that she hates. So she looks into other ways that she might be able to get out of this job. And that's where we get into probably one of the darker, in my opinion, aspects of this story. Retsuko decides that she wants to get married and become a housewife so that she doesn't have to deal with her job anymore. She even overlooks one of her co-workers, Haida, who very clearly has a crush on her because he says that he doesn't have a big enough salary to support a spouse staying home. Haida says that he and whoever he marries could support each other in their careers and be good influences on each other, but that's not good enough for Retsuko. I feel like this should go without saying, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. If you pursue someone for their money or their status or anything of that nature specifically to benefit yourself, you are the worst type of person. In pursuit of a partner, Retsuko decides that she wants to improve her body. So to do this, she goes to a yoga class where she encounters Miss Washimi and Miss Gori, an eagle and a gorilla respectively, two very powerful and confident women who she often sees strutting around her office. They attempt to befriend Retsuko, who at first declines, but eventually they do become good friends, and Miss Washimi and Miss Gori become the first to see Retsuko's true self. They end up going to karaoke together, and Retsuko lets out her rage in front of other people for the first time. This is a turning point because now Retsuko has these mentors, women who she has respected, and they didn't reject her when they saw this darker side of her. So she starts going to them for advice. She starts being honest and vulnerable. She tells them that she wants to quit. She wants to get married so that she can stay home. Retsuko is advised that marriage will not, in fact, fix all of her problems, but she decides to proceed anyway. Miss Washimi reports Director Tone's power harassment to the company president on behalf of Retsuko. This provides a temporary fix to the boss problem, and in the meantime, Retsuko does in fact find a boyfriend. However, Retsuko's daydream fades fast because her office prince turns out to be a dud. But Retsuko doesn't want to accept this. She doesn't want to accept that love didn't automatically fix everything for her. So she pulls the way too common move of pretending to be happy in her relationship. Eventually, Retsuko grows to be more honest, even if she has to use her metal persona in order to do this. She eventually does break up with her boyfriend through metal. She also drunkenly tells Director Tone that he's a shitty boss in front of everybody at a party through metal. It took trial and error and two wonderful female mentors to get her there, but Retsuko is much happier by the end, and she has learned and she's grown. And as an audience, I think that we can take a lesson away from this series as well. My first takeaway from this series is that your self-actualization is important. It's important to at least dream and to have goals of things that you want to do, to have aspirations. However, if you can't do that right away, it's okay to make the best of the situation that you're in. And you don't always have to toe the line and play by every rule. Sometimes you just need to scream. Sometimes you need to let your frustrations out in whatever way you can. And if you have to just rage, then do it. Don't be a Sonoda. You don't have to suck up or even flirt with authority to achieve your goals. Maybe it will help you in some ways, but it's not going to get you the respect that you need. I'm just going to throw this out there too. Retsuko's frequently seen drinking away her frustrations as well. Not a healthy coping mechanism. And lastly, love is not going to solve all of your problems. But if it's something that you desire, then there are probably certain ways that you should go about it. You shouldn't be like Retsuko and expect to marry up and be able to run away from your obligations. But you also shouldn't be like Haida, who is too scared to rock the boat, too scared of making things awkward, that for a long time he doesn't pursue what he wants at all. In summary, Aggretsuko is the story of a young woman who grows to respect herself enough to be honest. And I think that's something that everyone can learn from.